Here's a sentence that's going to sound completely backwards. The more disciplined you are about saving money, the poorer you might actually be getting. I know how that sounds. Somewhere your grandma just felt a weird chill and has no idea why. But stick with me for the next 9 minutes, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why just save more is some of the most well-meaning, financially dangerous advice ever handed down from one generation to the next. And more importantly, what to actually do instead, so your money finally starts working as hard as you do. Because right now, for a lot of you, it isn't working at all. It's just napping. Most of us got the same financial upbringing. Save your allowance. Don't touch the piggy bank. A penny saved is a penny earned. Clip the coupons. Skip the fun stuff. Feel guilty about the fun stuff you didn't skip. And to be clear, that advice isn't wrong exactly. It's just dangerously incomplete. It's like being taught how to brake perfectly, but nobody ever showed you where the gas pedal is. You'll be safe, you just won't actually get anywhere. Somewhere along the line, save money quietly turned into put it in a bank account and forget about it. And that account is currently paying you an interest rate so small, it's basically a participation trophy. You showed up. Good effort. Here's almost nothing. Let's do actual math here, because this is where it gets uncomfortable. Say you save $10,000 and tuck it into a typical savings account earning 0.5% a year. Responsible, right? After 20 years of doing everything right, that $10,000 grows to about $11,000. Congratulations, you earned roughly a coffee's worth of interest a year, spread out over 2 decades. Meanwhile, prices don't sit still and wait for you. Think about how much a basic grocery run or a night out has crept up just in the last few years. Ask your parents what a house used to cost. Ask your grandparents what a movie ticket used to cost. That's not your imagination. That's inflation quietly working in the background this entire time. Now stretch that same creep across 20 years. If everyday costs rise around 3% a year on average, that same pile of money, sitting there, feeling responsible and safe, quietly loses almost 40% of its real buying power over those same 20 years. You didn't lose the money. It's all still sitting right there in the account. But what it can actually buy you shrank, like a wool sweater that went through a hot dryer by accident. Same sweater, fits a toddler now. That's the part they don't put on the piggy bank commercials. Now, I already know what somebody's typing in the comments. Just save more, cut the lattes, cook at home, cancel the subscriptions. And sure, trimming expenses genuinely helps. I'm not going to pretend it doesn't, but there's a ceiling to how much you can cut. You can only skip so many lattes before there simply aren't any lattes left to skip. You can cut your budget down to the bone, and bones don't compound. Meanwhile, there is no ceiling on growth. None. Investing doesn't ask you to suffer your way to wealth one skipped coffee at a time. It asks you to be patient and let time and math do the heavy lifting you were trying to do with sheer willpower. Willpower is exhausting. Math never gets tired. And this is exactly where most personal finance advice quietly stops talking, because what comes next is the part that actually changes lives. Okay, so let's actually watch that math do the heavy lifting. This is opportunity cost, and it's the quiet one. While that money sits in a low-interest account feeling nice and secure, it's not doing the other job money is supposed to do, which is make more money. Take that same $10,000. Instead of parking it in savings, imagine it's invested somewhere that's historically averaged around 8% a year over time, like a broad stock market index fund. Same 20 years, same starting amount. Instead of ending up with $11,000, you're looking at somewhere around $46,000. Same person, same patience, same 2 decades. The only thing that changed is where the money was allowed to live. That gap isn't luck, and it isn't some secret only rich people know. That's just compound growth doing what compound growth does when you actually let it. People call it the 8th wonder of the world, and most of us are out here treating it like a scam text we swipe away without reading. So if the math is this obvious, why does almost everyone still default to hoarding cash instead of growing it? because saving feels safe, and investing feels like standing at the edge of a diving board, wondering if there's actually water down there. Fear of loss is a much louder voice in our head than the slow, quiet math of compound growth. There's also a control thing happening. A savings account feels like something you can see and touch and check obsessively at 2 a.m. The stock market does not care about your feelings, and it will not text you back to reassure you. A lot of us also grew up watching someone, a parent, a grandparent, an older sibling, get burned by a bad investment, or lose a job, or live through genuinely hard times. And the lesson that stuck wasn't invest wisely, it was just don't lose what you have. That's a completely understandable instinct. It's also how you accidentally turn yourself into a dragon guarding a pile of gold in a cave. Technically rich, functionally getting poorer every single year, the treasure just sits there collecting dust. Okay, so what do you actually do with all this? First, I am not telling you to stop saving. An emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of basic expenses sitting somewhere safe and boring, is genuinely one of the smartest financial moves you can make. That's not the villain of this video. That's your seatbelt. The problem is stopping there and calling it a complete strategy. Once that safety net exists, the rest of your extra money has exactly one job: to grow. That might mean a retirement account, a low-cost index fund, or simply taking the time to learn enough that investing stops feeling scary and starts feeling normal. It doesn't have to be dramatic either. Consistently investing smaller amounts over a long stretch of time almost always beats waiting around until you finally have a big enough amount to start. If you can, automate it. Set up the transfer once on payday before you even see the money, so you're not relying on willpower every single month. And you do not need to be a genius who times the market perfectly. Time in the market beats timing the market, basically every single time. And a quick, responsible aside, because I like you and I don't want you doing anything reckless because of a YouTube video. This is general education, not personalized financial advice, and markets can absolutely go down as well as up. Please do your own research or talk to an actual professional before you make any moves with real money. So let's bring it home. Saving money isn't keeping you poor because saving is bad. It's keeping you poor when it becomes the entire plan instead of just step one. Money that only sits still slowly loses value to inflation and completely misses out on the growth it could have had. The goal was never save. The goal was save enough to feel safe, then put the rest to work and give it enough time to actually do something. Your future self is either going to thank you for this or seriously side-eye you, and which one happens is completely up to you starting today. If this changed how you think about your money even a little, hit subscribe because we break down stuff exactly like this every week. And drop a comment telling me the first thing you're going to do differently after watching this. I'll see you in the next one.